These days, it seems like every day is a busy news day. There's always a bunch of stuff going on. We've got the Derek Chauvin murder trial of George Floyd. That's the big news. And I'm hearing a lot of people saying, this cop will just get off like the rest. And I don't think that's necessarily true. Yes, we've seen a lot of occasions when cops got off of killing particularly a black person. But I think this is a different situation. This is an extremely high-profile case. That incident caused protests and riots, not only in Minneapolis, but all over the country. And it went on and on and on. That crime had a serious impact on this entire country. The entire crime is on videotape, and everybody in the world has seen it. They can react to it. And the trial is on live national television, every minute of it. We're in a different time now, too. Racism has always been a problem. But over the past 4 years, it's become more in focus to people and how bad it is. People that might have been under rocks or under covers are now surfacing to the top because somebody like Donald Trump made it okay for them to go public. And they did. So people now know there is a lot of racism. And they're not shy about talking about it. And they're getting kickback from we normal people who don't buy into that bullshit, that hate that stuff. And now there's an argument between the racist and the real normal loving people. Now we've got social networking. For most of those big ones, we didn't have that. So when you consider all these things, I think you can expect a different outcome than maybe what you've gotten in the past. And just to throw it away and say, he'll just get off. I don't think that's possible. I really don't think that's possible. Then we can talk about Matt Gaetz, Representative Matt Gaetz from the U.S. House of Representatives. He's been in office since 2016. He's from the state of Florida. Now, this is a loudmouth douchebag that we've had to deal with for 4.5 years. He was Marjorie Taylor Greene before Marjorie Taylor Greene was even in office. He's a dipshit. Now, he loved to make all kinds of claims about Democrats. He bought into the Q thing, how Democrats are pedophiles and all that sort of thing. But the funny thing is, now he's under investigation with the DOJ for sex trafficking. Now, here's the weird thing about Matt Gaetz. A lot of people have always thought Matt Gaetz was gay. Not that that matters, but he's had a weird circumstance in his life. He had a girlfriend that he no longer dates, but as I understand it, she was pretty young when he was like about 31. She was like 17, so that's a little weird. This girl's mom died of breast cancer, sadly, but dad is still alive. There's a young boy by the name of Nestor. He was about 12 or 13 at the time. And Matt decided he's going to adopt this kid and let him live in his home. Except he never officially adopted him. Dad's still alive. He's now 19 years old and he's in college. What's going on there? A lot of people surmise that Matt Gaetz is into younger boys or younger kids, and there's some sexual activity going on there. And based on what we know about Matt Gaetz, that's a possibility. But now we hear he's under investigation for potentially having sex with a 17-year-old girl and taking her around the country and paying for things for her or paying her, which is a serious federal offense. But people would say, oh man, if he's gay and Nestor's his boyfriend, the young 19-year-old kid now, then what's the deal with this girl? Is he bisexual? Well, I guess that's possible. But I've thrown out another concept I think we should consider. We know Matt Gaetz is a representative in the U.S. House of Representatives. We know his dad's very wealthy. We know he has a lot of powerful friends that back him and Donald Trump. Now, if he was going to abuse a 17-year-old girl, does he have to take her out of state to do that? I wouldn't think so. But he does. And everybody thinks he might be gay, thinks it's a Nestor thing. But what if, and they said sex trafficking, didn't they? What if that girl is with him not for his own purposes, but for some of his powerful friends? A little bribe, if you will. I'm not saying that's true. But if you look at the situation, figure out all the factors in that situation, it gives you some things to look at. Why did they call it sex trafficking? I guess if he took her across state lines and had sex with her, that would be sex trafficking. But so would taking her across line to meet friends. We don't know the whole story as yet, but we will. And Matt Gaetz is shitting his pants. He's saying it's a big conspiracy. It's blackmail. He even named a guy. They talked to the guy, and he didn't seem nervous about it at all. He had a tape of the conversation with Matt Gaetz' father where he was alleged to have blackmailed him. He doesn't seem to worry about that tape because he didn't blackmail him. It's just another diversion that we see from Republicans to get you off the topic at hand. It's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. But I don't think it's going to be very good for Matt Gaetz, and it's definitely not going to be good for the Republican Party. Lastly, of course, we've got Joe Biden bringing out his infrastructure bill. Now, this is kind of interesting. This infrastructure bill should have been brought out decades ago because this country is in dire need of infrastructure help. Now, the Republicans don't like it because it raises taxes, but it's only raising taxes on those people that are wealthy or corporations, basically taking away Donald Trump's ridiculous tax cut that only did the rich good. Take that away from them and make them pay for an infrastructure. That makes sense. But now there are some Democrats that are also kicking about it because they don't think it's enough. I kind of see what Joe Biden's doing here. He's slowly biting away at the process. He wants to get the big picture done, but he knows it's going to be easier to do it a bit at a time. And each time he does that, the Democrats and he become more powerful. This is going to do good. This is going to make jobs. And once it does, it's going to be easier to pass yet another one. So I think in this case, we have to be a little patient. Joe's been in the Senate for 32 years or something like that. He's smart. He knows what he's doing. Let him do it, and we'll just follow the process. Thanks for taking time to listen to me. I'll see you again next time.